Hey, gents. Good
Hey,
evening.
Sid.
Hey, Sid.
Greetings. What's going on?
I just got off a plane from Idaho.
Oh, wow.
Just got home about 15 minutes ago.
Good, yeah. I just got back from D.C. Early this morning, so.
Did you?
What were
How
you,
was the Capitol?
what were you doing there, Sid? Do we want to know?
I was begging people not to do it. I was, but no, I was holding a vigil there out front with a candle, and it got blown out. So,
Your candle got snuffed?
yep, I got snuffed. So, God, those guys use bad language.
You never heard that before.
Like dag nabbit?
Yeah, dag nabbit and son of
Even
a
on a
gun.
golf course?
Some bitch, but yeah, like TJ used to hear me swear on the golf course, Tim. So
Yeah.
Golly gee doesn't count.
He would ask me often what some of those words meant. What are some of those words that Sid was using?
You got your Latin dictionary out, right? So your Hebrew
Yeah.
or what?
Lexicon.
Yeah, the concordance. But
Yeah. How you been?
Hey, Ed.
Eddie,
How you guys doing?
Excellent.
Hey, Bob Booth, do you recognize this?
Well, I can't see it, but I know what you got. Yes, I do.
Thank you. That was very kind of you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I had some time over the holidays and was farting around in the garage and just kind of had a brain fart and thought I'd make a couple things.
Well, it's very nice. What you wrote on the back is very nice too. I appreciate that so much.
You're welcome.
Hello, Ralph Duke. I haven't seen you for a while.
Well, it's been a couple of days.
You don't look like you've changed very much.
I'm missing something.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay.
I look like I'm back in college.
You look like a clean-cut All-American now, boy.
Yeah. Well, it's got to come back though. My wife hates it.
She likes a beard?
Yeah, she likes the goatee Van Dyke thing.
The manly look, right? That's why I don't have to worry how I look anymore. So
yeah, but you're darn sexy as it is, Coach.
Good to see you, little buddy.
How's the hip?
Well, it was really good. And then about 4 days ago, all of a sudden I started getting all kinds of pain in there. And I was, I've heard too many people that have gotten infection in their hips. And so I went in to see the doctor. He's kind of a team doctor, and Dr. Valentine, and I was able to get in right away. And so they took another x-ray and they said, suck it up. He said, I think I did an exercise that probably pushed it a little bit too much and it just hurts. So I guess now I don't do that exercise anymore. That's where I get in trouble. I was trying to stretch out on the golf course, and that's how I got hurt. I fell and broke it out there. So don't do any exercise, any stretching. Now I'm down to don't do any exercises. So I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I thought we had advised you of that before Christmas. Sid had said exercising isn't all that it's cracked up to be.
Well, I don't learn very fast, Tim.
New Year's resolution, don't work out.
I got a chair to sit in. That's the main thing.
Sure.
Football's about over with, so I don't know what I'll do.
Brian, you recognize that young fellow that just got on?
I'm thinking it's another hypo, but I'm not sure.
Hey, Brian.
It is.
Here,
TJ?
I brought you this to help you remember.
Oh, golly.
Oh,
I
that,
actually had some hair and it was blonde.
is that when you took him for show and tell?
I think that might be show and tell day. Yeah.
Well, it's been a few
You
years,
and-
TJ. Are you, where are you these days?
I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada,
Okay.
teaching Spanish at a high school here.
How long have you been out there?
This is my 6th year teaching. So before that, I was in the St. Louis, Missouri area.
You got smart and went somewhere warm.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the temp out there today?
Oh, it's mid 50s. And that's, yeah, what the kids consider it cold when they have to put pants on.
Are you meeting in classes or are you still remote?
We're, yeah, for the first semester, we were split, and students could choose to be completely at home if they wanted to. And now this semester, they've given them the option that they can come to campus full time. So we have about 88% of our students on campus every day. The public school system in Nevada has been completely online all year. So that's a pretty big mess, but
It's pretty much year round, isn't it?
for our schools,
Yeah.
no, it's mid-August until Labor Day.
Okay. Well, it changed since I lived down there. So,
Really?
but that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
You know, you got a principal here in an elementary school down there in Nevada, so you got to be careful what you say about the administration there, TJ.
Yeah.
Where'd
Right,
you
Jeff?
where'd you go to school out there, Ralph?
Well, I can't really remember because it was a long time ago. That was when my dad decided that he wanted to be a diesel mechanic at a coal mine and moved us to Wyoming. So let's see, I was in 2nd, 3rd grade at that point. So I became a Wyomingite at that point.
Okay.
How much were you benching at that time?
Geez, I don't think I'd even hit a bench at that point.
Or was it your squat? I can't remember. What was your strongest at? Both?
Oh, geez, at school?
Yeah.
Uh,
I think it was academics, wasn't it, Ralph?
yeah, I was great at academics. Now, the most I ever got, not just school, but after, was 550 on bench. And I think I was about 700 on squat.
Ouch.
Yeah, I remember when I was there, we didn't have a bench press.
Well, that's why we use the squat rack.
Yeah, that's all I could do was squat. I never did. I remember some guy named Russ Stewart was down there one day and asked me to spot him, and I kind of laughed. And he goes, "I have it. I just want you here just in case." And I'm like, "In case what? I need to go call someone?" It was pretty comical. I was looking for the library and accidentally stumbled into the weight room.
There was a library.
So they say.
That was a long ways away from the weight room. How did you ever get down there?
I got lost.
There's Ron Hayes. Hi,
campus.
Ron.
How you doing, Coach?
Good to see you, man.
Ronnie Hayes.
What's going on, Ralph?
Oh, not much. How are you?
Doing well.
Brian, are you still in touch with Morton Anderson?
A little bit. Every once in a while, I haven't seen him since he was inducted in the Hall of Fame. And that was, I think, 2 or 3 years ago. So, but yeah, occasional message here and there and Christmas cards. And Yeah, every
Yeah.
once in a while.
Is he living in New Orleans? Or
He's
did
living
he
in
s-
Atlanta, actually,
Atlanta.
because he kind of finished, I'm not sure where he finished his career. I think it was in Kansas City. He went to Atlanta and then Kansas City and Minnesota and New York, and he was all over the place. So, but ended
Yeah.
up in Atlanta. So
It said it was refreshing.
I saw the ceremony for Gordy.
On me?
No.
Really appreciated hearing your stories and getting to hear you talk.
That
Yeah,
was
Gordy
well done,
was-
Brian.
that was, yeah, kind of a bittersweet thing. If you knew Gordy, he was a legend, that's for sure.
Mhm.
But he was ready to go home, and he was very open about that. And his health was failing, so he was looking forward to better days. So
Do you think Jesus had to relinquish the throne when he got up there, or would Gordy take a second position finally?
I'm sure he had a special spot for him. He was one of a kind. So
Yeah.
He would have gone to God directly, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Step aside, Peter. I'm coming in.
Well,
when
I
he was
told I told the guys I told John Anderson here to give us a little input on his life and family and program and so forth. And I know he's got a Zoom call in a little while here, so we're going to go ahead and let John kind of talk with us a little bit. Give us a little update on things, if you would, John. Okay.
Certainly. Thanks for asking me to come on, Coach, and hope everybody had a great holiday season and certainly different for travel and seeing family and that type of stuff. But hopefully you were able to do some things and understand what that was about. But we did. We had a little bit of time off. The recruiting's been going pretty hard here through these, November and December. So we took some time off, gave the staff some time off, and for me and my family, it was really wonderful. The update on my son Trev is it just continues to be the most amazing recovery. I think I updated the group last time, but he's right before Christmas break, he got all caught up with his schoolwork from that he missed for an entire half of a semester. So he was doing old work and new work, and he's got all caught up. He's got all A's and B's, and we're really pleased with him on that. Now he's got some free time because he's not doing back work. He's finished up with his physical therapy for his pelvis and is working. He goes to the gym on his own. He wants to get back in shape and get stronger again. So we don't feel that the only lingering things that he got going on is that he's reverted into a snot-nosed teenager. So I guess that's full recovery then, I guess, is what we're dealing with. But just really, really amazing that we're probably not even quite 6 months out, maybe just right at 6 months from what he went through. And if he would walk in here tonight, you wouldn't know any different. He's cognitively all there. We maybe see a little bit of some personality changes, but they said that that's to be expected with a brain injury. And the two main things that we're dealing with now is he's got juvenile rheumatoid arthritis that developed through this trauma, and he's on some pretty heavy dosage of medication to help him with that. And he's got a little bit of eye issues, some focus and some bouncing with his eyes, but he's getting therapy for that. And we're all coming through everything. We got him set up. The last piece that his mother and I want him to deal with is kind of the emotional trauma of all this, which we don't think he has. So we got him set up. We're going to start seeing a counselor here this month, and hopefully he can get some of that stuff that we think still inside of him out, because he hasn't been emotional about this journey at all. But those are all things, guys, really, really amazing. And Amanda and I are just so thankful for our communities, the USF community being one of them, that just lifted our family up in prayer so much, and it's the recovery that he's made can only be contributed to that, because it was so quick and so rapid, and I'm just so thankful that you guys were there, and Coach, I know you and I had many conversations throughout this process, and we're just thankful. So that's a family update. Right now, I'm going to head out here in a quick minute to jump on a team Zoom meeting. We got most of our guys back in town starting this week. They're back in the weight room for J-term, and we got a lot of energy for the first time tonight. I'm going to present to them a plan that I feel is pretty concrete for the next 4 months, and we haven't been able to do that since last March, which is frustrating for coaches and frustrating for young people to not know what's next. But we're going to start testing all of our football players next week, which is going to be helpful from a contact tracing standpoint, and from being able to keep them, know who's asymptomatic and who's healthy, and not be able to get our guys rolling even more. They started playing basketball at the coup last weekend, and that's good news anytime you can see sports starting to return, and we're hoping to have a really productive spring. We got a couple competitions scheduled for April. I don't know that they're going to be full-fledged games. They might be more glorified scrimmages for us against other opponents, but really excited to have that to look forward to, excuse me. And again, I'd like to thank this group. Many of you guys contributed to helping us feed those guys at the end of last semester. I thank you. Hopefully, I tried to get most of those jerseys sent out. Hopefully you guys got those, and we still have some available if you want to look into your teammates, that type of stuff. But those contributions certainly helped us. And, when I'm able to tell our guys that these things came from alumni and guys that, did the same things that I'm asking them to do in the past, that's really meaningful to a lot of them. And if they were here, they'd say thank you, and it meant a lot to them, and it certainly did to me, and I want to say thank you as well. So, those are kind of the updates. If anyone's got any questions about our program or where we're at right now, recruiting's going really good. We're on the tail end of things. Maybe just a few more spots. Hopefully this weekend we'll be done and able to get this new batch of guys in here this summer, along with keeping majority of our guys intact for next year as well.
Hey, John, I have a question for you. I did get both those jerseys. Thank you for finally finding a number I could get to Wolotarski. But how in the hell is number 88 an XL and number 57 is a large?
Well, I wish I had a good answer for you, Bob. I'm not sure.
I pulled that jersey out, and my wife and daughter just started laughing. And I said, no, I can fit. And I got it on, and they about peed their pants laughing. And I said, stop it and help me get this thing off. They are not the jerseys that we played in the 80s.
No, they're pretty stretchy. That's for sure.
God.
Now you know what women felt like when they put their girdles on in the olden days.
But thank you. I appreciate you doing that. Those were nice to receive, and I know we were very happy to help, and I hope that you guys were able to raise a lot of money for that. It was a great cause.
Yeah, thank you, Bob. Appreciate it.
Anybody else got any questions for John while he's on here?
No, I just want to say I'm really, really glad that your son's doing well, Coach Anderson. That's awesome.
Thanks, Dad.
I think if you learned anything in the jersey sales, you're going to need in the future get at least 3 or 4 number 18s. So,
Ed, let it go.
It was a popular one for sure. For some reason, you guys will have to enlighten me someday.
Oh dear. Well, I'll have to say, I think it was a miracle the way your boy came through there, John. I think we got to acknowledge the fact that it was a lot of people praying, and when you get answered to prayer, I think we need to give honor and glory to the healer, to God himself. So thank you for sharing, and
Yeah.
and making us all feel good about the progress of your son. I think that's great. And for you and Amanda and what's your other son's name? I can't think of it.
Nice.
Yeah, Tice there. I mean, kind of getting back to normal a little bit with two feisty teenagers, right?
We are, and I thank you for acknowledging that, Coach. That's how we feel about it, is a miracle from God, and we're praying for one in your family too, and well, with Coach Garrow, and we know it can happen, and I know this group will be doing the same thing that they for you and your family that they did for me. So I'm proud to be part of the Coup family, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it. Okay, we're going to just ask Brian. I don't know if anybody else has any questions, but we're going to bring Brian Hansen on here, and he's going to give us a little update on his brother, Mark, and talk about what he's doing now with the FCA coaches ministry and so forth. I'm so glad that he's kind of stepped up, and when I stepped aside, I think was a little hesitant to kind of try to fill my shoes, but I think I can't wear his shoes anymore. I mean, he's beyond me. So from a strong spiritual standpoint, he's a man of God, and we certainly appreciate what he does and what he stands for, and the life and the role model that he is to so many people. So Brian, let's put you on share a little bit. Okay.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Do all of you know Brian? I think most of you have heard of him, haven't you? He's played for many years as one of those punters in the NFL. So a few different teams, and even Cleveland, who's in the playoffs for the first time, a long time, right, Brian?
Yeah, how about that? I think it's been like 18 years since they've been in the playoffs. It's been a long dry spell. I know that. So
how much are your what are the player cards that with you being in a Cleveland uniform and being a punter? I got a bunch of them downstairs. How much are they worth? Should I turn them into somebody and sell them to raise money for you or something?
Yeah, they probably doubled. They're up to 20 cents now. if even that. So
I'm proud of them. I don't. They're very precious to me. So, but I don't need all the ones I got. So I stole a bunch at one time, thinking someday these are going to be worth a lot. So.
Well, hopefully
at least he's not wearing number 18.
Okay, we'll let you go.
A good game on Saturday. I just little history. I went to Sioux Falls College before it was the university. Bob was my coach for 1 year, and well, his first year was my last year. So had 1 year with him, and then we worked together in FCA for, I don't know, was it 10 years, 9 or 10 years, Bob?
At least 10 anyway. Yeah.
Yeah. So, Billy Graham said, years ago, that a coach will have a greater influence in 1 year than most people will in a lifetime. And that certainly was the case with me, having a chance to play under Bob and to be under his influence, and just his example and his just who he was as a coach, and his intentional desire to see coaching as his ministry. So some big shoes to fill. We worked together in FCA for 10 years, and he really was the guy that not only did I have that 1 year, but 10 years where I got to be discipled by him, and it was a tremendous blessing. But just quickly want to bring you up to speed on my brother. I don't know if you guys knew Mark, but he was a quarterback at Sioux Falls College a couple years before I was. So 77 through 80, I think 82 or 81, something like that. He had a stroke about 3 months ago, and he is now in Omaha at a facility it's a rehab facility called Quality Life Institute. And he is making some slow progress, a lot to be thankful for and rejoice in as far as his physical abilities. He's able to walk, and he is able to eat, and everything. But his right arm is functioning almost 100%. But he is limited with his communication, and cognitively, he's really making very small steps. But we're just rejoicing in the small things and the progress, and hopefully, over the course of the next few weeks and couple of months, he'll regain most of that, but that's unknown, and it's kind of from individual to individual as far as what they regain and the period of time that it takes. So I appreciate you guys praying for him. That is our hope, that hopefully we have a report that we can rejoice in, like Coach and his son, that we can have some good news. And I'm going to see him next week. I was down a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, just a slow go right now, but we're thankful for what progress he has made, and he's doing good. So.
Brian was about 2 years old when I taught down in Hayward, where his dad and I taught together at the middle school down there. His dad was the art teacher and traveled around the district. And so Brian was probably 2 or 3 years old at that time. And it was really a coincidence when I came to USF to have him there. And so the relationship, it's gone way, way back, even to the beginning when I got to know his dad and mom real well. And Brian wouldn't hardly talk to me at that time, but anyway, but it was, shows you what kind of a relationship God kind of brings people together when you have a spiritual connection. So anyway, what are you doing with FCA right now then, Brian?
Well, I wear a couple of different hats, and right now I'm primarily, like I said earlier, trying to fill your shoes and resurrect the coaching ministry that you started, and try to kind of build on kind of the foundation that you laid with Coach's ministry. Our primary focus now, and we've always had a strong emphasis on the Coach's ministry, but just in the last year, and with the kind of transition into this new focus, is to and through the coach. And we realize the influence of the coach. And just like Billy Graham said, the influence of a coach in 1 year is significant. And so we've been a ministry that's been focused on doing a lot of events and outreach events and programs. And now we're simply trying to do kind of a grassroots, simple approach to ministry. And that just, again, to and through the coach, where we're just discipling coaches, meeting with coaches one-on-one, challenging them and encouraging them in their walk with Christ. And we've introduced this new resource that we have called 3D coaching, three-dimensional coaching, which talks about the physical, the mental, and the spiritual dimensions, and taking coaches from being transactional coaches to transformational coaches. And I think that's something that every coach desires, and would say that, they want to be a transformational coach. I think anybody that goes into coaching wants to make a difference in the lives of the athletes and the kids that they work with. I think that's pretty much a given. But as you get into this game that you think that you love, and this tremendous opportunity, you realize there's a lot of challenges. And I think any coach, as Bob, you can attest to, and any of you guys that have done any coaching at a high school or college level, or really any level, you have a lot of opposition, a lot of challenges. And I remember Bob's story about the day that he was thinking of getting out of coaching, and came to the realization as I said earlier, that coaching was his ministry, and that kind of, I think, was a defining mark in your coaching career, and kind of changed your whole perspective. Not that you weren't a Christian coach before that, but I think that was kind of like I said, a defining mark in Coach Young's coaching career that just gave him new perspective and a new purpose, or renewed purpose, I should say. So that's what we're trying to do with the coaches ministry. And we started this coaches club, which basically began with a Zoom call like we're doing tonight with coaches across the state that enabled us to connect with and encourage coaches, challenge coaches to know him and to make him known. So it's just getting guys to go from this transactional mindset to a transformational mindset. And the only way that you can really do that is to get into the Word, to develop a prayer life, and to be in fellowship with other believers. And when other coaches are able to kind of share the same language that we all know in sports, there's just a common bond there that we're trying to tap into. So it's been interesting to see the response that we've gotten from coaches just about kind of where they're at spiritually. And I think, this time that we're in certainly has created an awareness and been a wake-up call and gotten people to just have a new perspective on life and what they're doing and where we're going. And I guess if this hasn't gotten your attention or given you new perspective, then I don't know what will. But it's a neat opportunity for us to build on something that Coach Young really kind of laid the foundation. So I'm just thankful and blessed to have a good mentor that kind of showed me what coach's ministry looks like. And so we're just trying to make a little difference.
You're a humble servant there, Brian. That's all I can say. How many transformational coaches did you have in the pros?
Well, they did some transforming, but it was a little different kind of transformation. I mean, I had some really great coaches as far as, successful coaches. I played for some of the better coaches that have ever been in the game, but played for really some of the worst NFL teams in the history of the NFL. So, so I had some great experiences and opportunities to see how coaches work. I can't explain the lack of success, but it did allow me to punt a lot. So I guess that was kind of a good bittersweet thing. Enabled me to get a few reps, and but I was I think the only guy in the history of the NFL to be on two different 1 in 15 teams. So I've got that going for me. But I played for Parcells, Belichick, Pete Carroll. I mean, just to name three, Bum Phillips, and Jim Mora, who were all pretty successful coaches. But for whatever reason, I was just bad timing. And I was with the Browns when I was with Coach Belichick before he was considered a genius. And now, I don't know, he's going back to that level where he lost Tom Brady, and he's kind of in a different league now. So, so the influence of the coach, they taught me, just some great things about coaches and how they operate and their philosophies and what makes them successful. So hopefully that's, something that I can use as I'm talking to coaches. I can connect with them and understand, kind of where they're at and what they're going through. So it's just amazing how God kind of allows you opportunities like that to give you something that he can use for a greater purpose.
Well, I think you said it right there that in order to do coach's ministry, I think there's a level of respect that has to precede your coming alongside them. And I think you always kind of thought you were a player more than a coach, and that would interfere with you really doing the ministry. But now I really have always felt like, the influence that you brought with you when you played in the NFL for so many years, and golly, you were all pro the first year, and to use that as as kind of a way of getting your foot in the door with not only coaches, but it really helps to, if you've got some strong administrators when you walk into schools and so forth, and say hi to some of them, and they get to know you and everything. And I think what helped me with the ministry was the fact that I had recruited so many of those different schools over the years, and so people kind of knew who I was, and I think that's kind of, you've got an image right now that people will respect, I think, and what you've done already with your spiritual life in conjunction with your pro career, I think speaks for itself and gives you the background as necessary to really go forth with the coach's ministry, which I already feel strongly about, obviously, and I'm so glad that you're kind of renewing that, and you've been working at it, I know, somewhat, but putting a new emphasis on it. So trying to get coaches, I don't, there's a lot of transformational coaches nowadays, but I think someone has to kind of come alongside of them and encourage them to continue in that vein of, and to, in some way, have a spiritual element with their own lives and with their teams, or at least offer that with their teams through maybe a chapel service or whatever, and you see that happen. And it was a couple of coaches that I thought, Steve Steele there at Pier, I got to know him when he was at Dakota State. He was an assistant coach at Dakota State, and now he's at Pier as the head coach. And what's he won 4 straight state championships? Ryan Rollinger, you would know probably. I think, is that right? I think Steve Steele won 4 straight state champ, 4 of them. And the email I got back with him, because I've got to know him spiritually. He was always in our coaches gathering when we went up there, but I see that, and I know kind of what Chad has done with the program, and Brandon here, and offering chapel services on Thursdays, and the players, it becomes part of your program, and people just, they don't have to attend, but it's something which makes an impact on the lives of those players when they know that, and I think the response we're seeing as Chad is going through this situation that's so unbelievable, that November 15th he's winning a state championship with AAA football, and 2 weeks later, he's through about 2.5 weeks later, he's having a seizure at the ER, and the brain tumor was diagnosed at that time, and so it's just kind of unbelievable how you can go from such a level of success to what appears to be really a major game that he's got to play now to get through this, which they did go to Mayo today to start his treatments. He got his first treatment this afternoon up there, and then they stay up there to have another one tomorrow. And so he's up there. They'll be doing 6 weeks of radiation treatments. They'll come home for the weekend, so they'll come back on Friday, go back up on Monday, and then they'll be there during the week for 6 weeks. So they got a little road ahead of them to trying to shrink the tumor in there. So anyway, we're just concerned about your brother Mark, Brian. So that's a challenge for your family. I know that. So it's a lot of things have happened this year that are just kind of unbelievable, and a lot of you have had things happen in your families too. And so, but we certainly, both Brian's family and my family, appreciate everything that people have done to support our families over the years, you know, all the way through that 2020 year, which was quite a year. So
Yeah.
anyway, anything else, Brian? Anybody want to ask Brian a question or anything? I've got a lot of respect for him. I know that.
Brian, how do you engage
Go ahead.
more coaches? Brian, how do you engage more coaches? I mean, obviously Bob made a good name for himself. You've got a good name there. South Dakota's small community, and everybody kind of knows everybody. But do people kind of come to you, or do you reach out and try to get individuals to be involved? And what might be some of the reasons that they want to get involved in a coach's ministry?
It's really, I kind of followed Bob's model, is just being intentional and going out to the coach and meeting the coach where they're at. And that's usually in the school or on the practice field or wherever you get a chance to visit with them, and just let them know that you're there, that you care about them, and you just make that connection. It's just a relationship thing, and you take an interest in them. Your name might get you in the door, but it's developing that relationship and creating that opportunity to sit down with the coach and, find out where they're at. It's amazing. Bob would go out on these journeys where he'd stop at 5 or 6 different schools, and he would have these encounters, these meetings with guys, and kind of meet them where they're at. And they needed somebody to talk to. I mean, these coaches are going through whatever challenges with their family, with their team, in relationships, with, just life. And, we're able to, I don't know, visit with them, talk with them, share with them, pray with them. And it's just amazing how, guys would respond and just say, I needed you to be here today. And how God's timing would be perfect. And that was just Bob. Every time he would go out, he'd meet these guys when there was a need. And it was, I'm just finding that guys are out there struggling with all kinds of issues. And this whole kind of discipleship to and through the coach initiative that we have, I just sat down with the coaches and asked them where they're at spiritually. And across the board with the guys that I've talked about, the answer was complacency. It's something that has not as important as it used to be, or it's kind of on the back burner, and it's something that I need to get back to, or I need to work on. And so it was just kind of confirmation that there is a need there for those coaches that are out there to be discipled and ministered to. And so, it's just going out and being intentional, because they're not really coming looking to you. I mean, they know that we exist, but we're not getting emails, we're not getting calls. We have to kind of go to them. And that's kind of what Bob did from day one, is just go out and knock on doors and develop a relationship.
Great.
So the one thing I've learned through all this, with my brother and seeing Chad and Trev and all these things that are going on in our world. I mean, we all have these wake up calls that, that it should get our attention. And I'm just thankful for the common bond that we have at USF, and through Bob and through the coaches that influenced us. I had Coach Heupel that was a huge influence as well. I mean, I was surrounded by guys, Brad Poles, another guy, and then teammates that I had. But tomorrow is not a given, and I've been reminded of that. And I can say that I've been in ministry for the last 22 years, but I mean, you can get complacent in ministry just like you can in anything else. That doesn't make you super spiritual just because you're doing ministry. But it has, I think the Lord has been speaking to me about my own commitment to Him and my relationship with Him. And it has strengthened. I mean, through adversity and through challenges and things happening in your life, hopefully, you guys are kind of examining yourself. And I mean, this has been a blessing to connect guys, this common bond that we have to encourage one another and challenge one another and talk about spiritual things. So hopefully it's been a blessing to you guys as well. But yeah, I'm just grateful for my time at USF and to look at football. And this is the thing that I've kind of taken from FCA, and I share this often, and I'm sometimes tired of saying it because I hear it all the time. But football is a tool that God uses to test us and teach us and develop us primarily in our faith. And more than that, I think it's a model. I mean, if I can share anything with coaches and the guys that play the game and love the game, is that it's a model that he gives us, because we learn about discipline and sacrifice and commitment and all the things that coaches are telling us and expecting of us. And I think those are the things we get to do for a very short time in this crazy game that we played at one time. And that's the very thing that God desires in us, living and serving him, if you think about it. And if we miss that in our football experience, and that's the thing that I share with coaches, if we miss that, I mean, he's using all of these things, the injuries, the setbacks, the adversity, the wins, the good, the bad, the ugly. If we can't see Christ intricately working in our lives through the game of football, then we've got nothing but, few stories of glory days, hopefully glory days, or experiences that are temporary. And I'm just thankful that, I had the opportunity to see the eternal purpose that Bob was intentional about instilling that in us. So just grateful for all of it.
Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Thanks for your time being on and everything. So tell Mark hi that we've got a pretty good group here praying for him. Okay. You do
Thank
that.
you. Appreciate it, Coach.
All right. I'm going to ask Ron Hayes. I haven't seen him for a while here, but he sent me a beautiful wildlife picture that's hanging there on my wall, and I'm very proud of it. It's another symbol of my travels out in the Wyoming and Montana. I guess that was taken in Montana, wasn't it, Ron? I think.
Yeah, it was.
But anyway, you can tell us a little bit about the wildlife photography and how you go about it and what's happening in your life right now, if you don't mind sharing some of that. Okay.
Sure. And just some encouragement, I guess, for Brian, especially. My dad had a stroke in 1994. And honestly, it was that point in time where that actually event that God used to soften his heart and open his heart up to himself. And I don't know your brother, but understand that, there's a lot of good that can come of it, even in spite of some of the setbacks that he'll have physically. There's a lot of good that can come from just being able to talk to others, reach out to others. And I saw that in Dad's life. We had, another great 18 years with him, and the impact that he made as a coach primarily, but then went on to do some other things that he never would have done had that not happened. So, there's a lot to be gained as well, for maybe not him, but for others.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that.
Encourage you in that. As far as the wildlife photography, I always wanted to have any other talent, and I just didn't. Perkins, when I went through USF, Sioux Falls College at the time, got a biology degree. Jamie Perringer and Chad and I ended up going out to the Black Hills and doing some classes that Bill Sofing kind of designed for us. And then I did some work with Perk over the summer. He did some work for the Smithsonian Institute, and so he had to go out and gather all these freshwater clams. And so I was kind of the dive in the lake, swim through the river kind of guy. And so Perk would have me go out and dig through these mud bars. And I didn't get the best grades. So Perk always encouraged me with, you're a great field biologist. Might not be great in the classroom, but you're a great field biologist. And I kind of took that into the game and fish with me after I graduated from Sioux Falls. I worked there for a few years. My wife and I had our oldest daughter, and I just needed to land somewhere permanently. So I landed in Douglas, Wyoming, with Brian Brooks and Mike Wortham, a couple other Sioux Falls graduates. And I was fortunate enough to be able to spend some time with those guys and continue, even though I wasn't working in the game and fish anymore, continue to work in outdoor industry. And I picked up a camera from my father-in-law. Actually, I picked up a video camera first, and I just videoed everything. And my wife bought these tapes, so we could video our kids, and she would come back and they'd all be full of these, wildlife. I'd have elk and bears and deer filling up these tapes. And it was it kind of turned into something that I could draw pleasure from. And I always thought back of the story of Eric Little, the guy that Chariots of Fire was written about. Eric Little was born to a missionary in China, came back and went to school in England, and then ended up running for England in the 1924 Olympics, I think. And Eric Little was the favorite to win the 100, but the 100 was run on a Sunday, and he refused to run on the Sabbath. And so the reason that he was famous is because he went on to win the 400, which he didn't even run in the World Championships to qualify, and he ended up winning a gold medal in the 400. And he said, I was made for China. I was made to be a missionary in China, but I feel God's pleasure when I run. And it's kind of the same when I'm out photographing wildlife, and some of these that I've been able to capture. That's kind of just where I feel God's pleasure. That's my church. That's my praise. That's my worship time as I'm out there. And so that's what the big draw was for wildlife photography. And so it's gone to the point now where it looks like this year I'm going to be full time. This summer, going to go full time with it. We started a wildlife photography podcast. It's called Wild and Exposed. And there's a guy from Colorado, a guy from Utah, and a guy from Toronto, Ontario. And we all do trips together, and we've been doing the podcast for about 4 years now. And we're about to turn it into a TV show. So it looks like that's going to take it full time. And so that's, being able to, like, if you enjoy what you do, it's kind of like coaching. You enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life. And that's kind of the passion that my dad and my brother had for coaching. And my dad always hoped that I would have, but I kind of saw the world in a little bit different way. I like to be out and about and on my own, and just explore things, see the natural world. And it's the one thing about wildlife photography. The other thing is it's gotten me out to, given me the ability to get out and see a lot of people. Sean Bryant's on here right now. Went on a trip to North Dakota and was able to see Sean up in Bismarck. Saw Todd Hayden on the same trip, and Jay Eisnes. I just was up in Cody, Wyoming, filming sheep, and sat down and had dinner with Jim and Jenny Peringer. So I was able to get out and see them, and it gets me out and gives me the ability to see a lot of people and a lot of things. And the image that I gave Coach was a mountain lion, and it's just reflected, almost perfectly in these streams. So I just thought it was the perfect image to be able to give back to Coach for him giving so much to me. And I think I can, let me know, this might not work. Oh, never mind. I thought I could share my screen. Oh, I can. Nope, I can't because Chad disabled it. I was just going to show you guys that image, but the wildlife photography is, it's just kind of where I find my passion, and it gives me the ability to take advantage of my degree and what I learned and how to observe wildlife, that kind of thing. But it's a little bit different than where I thought life was going to end up.
Explain a little bit of how you were able to get that picture that you sent me. How did you go about doing that?
Well, that was cheating, Coach. So I don't know if you want me to.
Oh,
So that image was taken at a game farm, and the guy was he had the last permit to have captive deer in the state of Montana. And he got a mountain lion in one of his deer enclosures. And he told us we had 4 days to photograph it before he killed it, because it was, would kill about a deer a week, and it had just made a kill. So we knew where it was. It was in a, just a few acre enclosure. So it was just a matter of time before we knew we were going to see the cat. And so we just set up in the best spot. We knew it was going to have to come to water eventually. And it came to water, and it was dead calm, and it was just a perfect reflection.
yeah, that's what impressed me so much, was the reflection in the water of that. It was so perfect, and that it takes a lot of patience to sit there and wait for an animal like that to come around, and to get the perfect shot like you sent. That's got to be a very high skill level, I think, to do that. So,
yeah, that was, that's the one thing, is it takes it's not just as easy as going out and snapping a picture. It's there's a lot of science to it. Actually, when the guy that mentored me, the first time we met, he started talking to me about how photons of light went through the lens elements and hit and I said, listen, I kind of shared the same story that I shared about Perkins. I said, I'm a field guy. I'm not a science, or I'm not a classroom guy. So you don't need to talk to me about the photons. Just how do I make them appear clear on the image? So that, I'm sorry, Chad, I can't figure out how to get this
Hey,
thing.
Ron, first thing is that's working smarter, not harder. So that's not changing the whole my book. And I just switched you over to host, I think. So
I saw that, but I can't seem to. Yeah, it's just not wanting to share. Hang on, might be able to do it this way. Yeah, I don't.
while you're toying with that, tell us a little bit about your family right now. And I got to know your dad and your mom and Heath, your sister some, and your wife Christy. So I feel like I stayed quite a few nights at your house and in Thermopolis, and was out there during the summertime for those football camps, and we got to float down the Wind River and on those rafts and have
they actually
milk can feed, and it was a very, very some memorable times that I was able to. It was kind of right on the middle of the state where I could, I invited myself in, and you guys. I think you were probably back at USF at the time a lot of times, but I still stayed with your mom and dad at that time, and it was.
Oh yeah, and if you rolled through town, I guarantee you'd be able to stay with mom still. She, often asks about how you're doing. So the family's doing good. Mom is remarried after dad passed away in 2013. Mom got remarried to a guy that they both went to high school with, and they seem to be doing really well. My brother is actually here in Douglas, Wyoming with me. He is still coaching. He's been president of the Coaches Association. He's on the National Coaches Association and still very active.
Is he over in Casper coaching?
Yeah, he's coaching track for Kelly Walsh High School.
Okay.
Yeah. Zimmer is at NC, is at the other high school in town. But they're all doing really well. My sister's still in Thermopolis. Yeah, everybody's doing great. I just went through a bunch of heart testing. They thought that I was about to have a heart attack because I was out photographing bighorn sheep actually, and just couldn't catch my breath after a short walk. And I went, got all this testing done, and then after I spent, I don't know how many $1,000 on these heart tests, they told me, we are pretty sure you had COVID and this is the after effect. So then they started watching me for blood clots, but all is well.
Good.
I'd like to be able to show that picture, Coach. I'm sorry, but I can't figure this out, and I don't want to waste everybody's time trying to chase it down.
Hey, Ron, I think it's
Hey,
great
Ed.
to hear from you, Ron. I just have not talked to you for a million years.
I know.
But I think Bob Booth had it on his phone. He was kind of showing it. Bob, you want to show it again on your phone so everybody can look? Not the best way, but
Well, yeah, just got to work with the technology limitations that you have. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Yeah. And it's a lot better picture than that, than the way it looks on the computer. But
Ron, those are some amazing photos. As you were talking, I was just looking through your website, and you do some amazing work.
Thank you.
In fact, so much that I think you should have a special for anyone on the call that would like to possibly purchase one of those.
Yeah, we can do that.
hey, what's the website?
It's westernwildlifeimages.com. And we named our podcast Wild and Exposed. I don't even know if they'd let me come back and talk about that at the coup, because they, even on Instagram, they made us misspell the name because they were afraid of what it was going to end up being. YouTube, we had to add podcast to it, but that's the podcast name. And then the Western Wildlife Images is my website. And yeah, I've been very fortunate. I've taken probably 5 or 6 trips to Alaska, and I'm actually going to go to Alaska in June and film fishing bears for the Planet Earth series. So I'm not.
Don't be climbing around in some of those mountains up there and those cliffs, trying to shoot pictures. Okay, we got to be careful. We already lost one player up there, so.
Yeah, no, it's we climb in the cliffs after the doll sheep and the mountain goats, and it can get a little bit hairy, but I try to keep myself out of those real hairy spots.
I told you could fit me in a duffel bag.
I know. Ralph volunteered to go pack everything I needed him to pack for.
I envy you a lot on being in that outdoor environment, and evidently a lot of the beauty of God's creation is very revealed to you when you're out there, right?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you get to see things that you never even know existed. And that's the beauty of it. It's kind of fun to see, Jimmy Perringer, his son, and the last time Douglas played in the state championship game, Jimmy's son and then Brian Brooks's son were on opposite sides of the field, and they ended up covering each other. They were both cornerbacks and they were both receivers. They ended up covering each other the whole game. It was 222s going at it. So, and Tate, Jimmy's son, is now doing a lot of filming. So it's kind of fun to see those younger guys get out and explore some of the same things.
So, Ron, this is Chad. I see Ed's unmuted, but I'm going to put my plug in first. I've been a video editor for 35 years, and now Ed's filming and editing his own hunt. So he's going to probably plug you for a job editing, but I got the skills, baby.
Yeah, it's funny. I actually started doing it. I got a GoPro in 2013, and then this year I really got into it. And I posted 10 movies now on my own YouTube channel. It's not to be viewed. I just do it for myself.
What is it? Is it public though?
Yeah, it's public. I mean, if you search on YouTube, Ed Kester, South Dakota, you can pull up one of the videos. Then you click on me, you can look at them. I got a black pheasant on there. That's a good video.
All right.
I shot a mutant pheasant.
That's crazy.
Off point. Yeah, it's really fun. I know exactly what you mean. I for 20 years, I've been going out to the Bighorn with Brad Pohl. And when you're just Bighorn, Missouri, wherever fishing. I just love that stuff. And Dave Hinkle and I, we went to Alaska and all
Yeah.
over Wyoming. There's
Alaska's
no
amazing, but
closer
there's-
way to get to spiritual connection with God than being out in the middle
Oh,
of nowhere and seeing the
absolutely
majesty
not.
of
And
the
most people can't really understand that connection. And I think you don't until you do.
yeah.
That's the good part, or the blessing of growing up that way, because I grew up on a ranch in Wyoming, and so we spend a lot of time on our own. And I think that's why I enjoy it so much, just because that's kind of the way I grew up. Never has felt lonely to me. It's always felt like where I belonged. So in Sioux Falls, actually, that's where I decided I was never going to live in a town that had more than 10,000 people in it, because it felt a little claustrophobic. And Sioux Falls isn't that big. It's a lot bigger now than it was, but yeah, I appreciate you asking me to do this, Coach. And I wasn't really sure how it was gonna relate for everybody, but I sure appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks, Ron. I guess I challenge you to the things that you said in your God revealing Himself through the outdoors and so forth. And in some ways, I could see you developing kind of a ministry of this is what God has created. It's just one of the ways. If people don't know God, and they always say, well, what about those people who have never had a chance to meet their Savior and
Mhm.
to meet God? But golly, and you can come back and say, well, guys, look at creation. I mean, it
Yeah.
had to have a creator, and
Yeah,
I
it's
just
it's
I
funny.
guess
We have a guy that he's a missionary that we support, and he's from South Africa. He's originally from South Africa. His father was a chief in the Zulu Nation, and they've asked me to come over there and film for them, so that they, when they come over here to try to raise support, they would have something that would be able to relate. So to go over there and film, and then offered to take me out also into some of those areas. But he talks about that often, that even the people that have never heard anything about Christianity know that there's something greater than themselves. They might not know exactly what it is, and they might not know him by name, but they know that there is something greater than themselves. And that's kind of how his father came to believe. So it's interesting. There's stories like that from all over the world, and opportunities like that for all over the world, to go film for these missionaries and give them a tool that they can use to come back and raise support to continue to do what they're doing, elsewhere. But wildlife is one of those things, as you said, Coach, it translates to everybody.
Well, I don't have all bunch of Bible verses to quote in regard to that, but probably you'll have me looking them up and if I get them, I'll send some to you. Okay.
Sure, that'd be great.
But 2 weeks from today, Brian Brooks is going to have a group, the group that he attended USF with and played with and everything. They're going to be on next 2 weeks from today. And it'd be great to have you back on. I don't know. You said something about being involved on Thursday nights. Are you out then, or what?
Well, it's just the last couple months we've been recording. So
Okay.
we have guests on the podcast. So when we have their availability, sometimes it overlaps with other things. And so that has taken priority. So I haven't been able to be on the last few, but I will definitely try to get on there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Good
We
to
got to
see
get
you.
those Wyoming guys,
I know.
Right, Ralph Duke. We might even ask Ralph Duke to share something from Rock Springs or something, so who knows?
Yeah,
We're
Billy
prepping you. We're prepping you for that, Ralph.
It's been a long time since I was at Rock Springs.
Billy McKernan and I actually got to go to Yellowstone together on a trip too. With our families, and I saw when Billy's son, good looking kid, when he saw my daughters, I saw the same look in his eye that I did in Billy's several times. So we had to shut that down right away. But no, they were.
Is that you, Bill?
Great.
Yeah,
kid.
that's me.
Hey, good to see you, man.
Good to see you, Coach.
You remember when I recruited you when I came to Arizona?
I do. I remember it very well, Coach. That was fun.
Which high school did you play for down there? I can't remember.
I played at Cactus High School. Imagine that,
okay.
Arizona.
That's right. Well, welcome aboard.
Yeah, good to be back. I had kind of the fourth quarter. With fourth quarter Thursdays are tough for me, and but I'm glad I got some time now. I'm glad to be jumping back on the call and getting in touch with everybody and listen to everybody's catching up. It's great to hear everything. And just so you know, all of us, we're paying attention behind the scenes, obviously, but praying for Chad, praying for your brother Brian. So we're here, we're thinking about you, and just kind of in the silence, we're definitely doing our prayers for you.
That's good to hear, Bill. Thank you so much.
Well, I'm gonna end, and I'll mute right after this. But what Brian said about your interaction with coaches throughout the state of South Dakota, and just asking them about their spiritual life and where they were spiritually, and Brian doing the same. I'll tell you, that's how I ended up at Sioux Falls, is because you were the only coach to ask about that. And it was the furthest place away from my hometown that I got recruited to. So, but
the further I went in Wyoming, the better luck I had.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody wants out.
Well, Coach, when he came to Arizona, I used to train hunting dogs as a kid, and I remember I said the only question that really was of any value to me was, I was like, yeah, I know your program's good, all that, but do you guys pheasant hunt up there? Is anybody in the team pheasant hunt? He said, well, a lot of guys come from farms and they go home and hunt right after the game on Saturday. And I got my piece of paper signed away. I'm coming.
And you did.
And I did. And I hunted every possible chance I could when I lived up there. I loved it.
Hey, Rod, I just went to the website on my iPad, and these images you've got on here are just gorgeous.
Yeah, I stole those from all over the place. No, thank you very much. Yeah, it's been a good run. It wasn't like that at the beginning. There's
give me that website again, will you, Ron? I didn't have my pen ready last time.
That's okay. It's westernwildlifeimages.com.
Western Wildlife
Images.com.
Okay.
And we'll do for Bob, we'll do the coup 40, do the 40% off for anybody that went to the coup. But give me a little bit. I have to set that up. Actually, we'll do the coup 44 because that was my number.
Oh man, he's getting better all the day, guys.
And keep it going.
Hey, I was 50. Let's do coup 50.
I'd go broke because I was 90.
Well, I was going to say 57, but let's definitely not do 18.
Yeah, that's true. Ed did ask for more 18.
I just recently purchased a couple and put them on the metal. They print the picture right onto a piece of metal, and I'm not familiar with that stuff. So if you guys are, congratulations, you're more adept than me. But they came out beautiful, Ron. I got them last week.
Did you get them?
Yeah, they were absolutely beautiful. So thank you. Just wanted to let you.
Yeah, I owe you too, by the way. I'll get with you after.
You don't owe me nothing, brother. Those are awesome.
Well, thanks.
Hey, Ron, when a number 18 jersey shows up at your place, don't accept that as Ed's payment. He's been buying all the 18s and sending them to everybody.
That won't even cover postage.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's funny. Yeah, well, thank you again, Coach. I appreciate
Yeah.
you asking, and
Greet your family from me, will you, please?
I certainly will. You bet.
Love you all, man. It's a great family.
Yeah,
that
we love you
I
too.
got to know. Okay, and we'll look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Okay,
Sounds good.
even though you're never going to come back to Sioux Falls again.
I might
It's a,
visit. I'm just
it's
not
a
gonna
heck of
live
a
there.
lot bigger now than it was.
That's
Up
what
there
I,
out where Ryan Rollinger lives, you don't. That's part of Sioux Falls now. It used to be Harrisburg out there by itself, and now it's part of Sioux Falls.
that's
So
Chad Wolf was telling me that. He said it's just 287th Street or something like that where he's at now. Just keeps going south.
we got the river to separate us from Sioux Falls here in Brandon. That's the only thing, you know. But Harrisburg, Hartford, they're all kind of becoming almost part of Sioux Falls. So kind of like any big metropolitan area. So thanks for being on, Ron. We'll let you go.
Thank
okay?
you.
All right. God bless you, man. Thank you.
Hey, Coach, real quick, before we move on, just while we're talking about art, I got a nice package this week from Bob Booth, and Bobby made this for Coach.
Yeah, that was beautiful. What kind of wood is that, Bob?
So that's actually from a cherry tree, and a customer of mine in Idaho cut down a cherry tree in his front yard, and he gave me some live edge wood from it. And so I've been playing around with epoxy and trying to do some router work and different things. And I had made a rainbow trout that Ed, you would love, but anyway, just some like charcuterie boards. And I thought, you know what's next? And so I thought, well, I'll do a cougar, and I thought it would look kind of nice on my wall. And when I got it done, I thought, you know, I don't really want to do just one. It's not worth really my time to mix up the epoxy and go through everything. So I'll make another one for Coach. And you know, my skills are not yet that refined where I could do the one team fellowship logo and things, but I wanted to do that, but I just wasn't comfortable with it. And so I got the second one done, and then I started thinking, you know, that's still not quite enough. And I started thinking, what else can I do? And so I made another one and for Chad, and just as a token of appreciation for everything he's done to kind of bring this group together. You know, Coach, obviously, you know, it goes without saying what you've done for all of us, but at the same time, Chad, you have reignited a lot of friendships and fellowship with people just by helping Coach. That it was my pleasure to do that for you, but it was just, you know, starting to look towards retirement a little bit, and what do I want to do, and woodworking is something that I enjoyed over the years, and just trying to get a little more confident, things like that. It's not perfect, but I enjoyed making it, and I hope you guys enjoy them.
Well, mine's going to be hanging in my office, and my mom was here when I opened them, and my mom literally cried when she saw it because she can't imagine the friendships from 30 years ago that are still kindled and still really on fire. It's just, I mean, she doesn't have friends that she's 74 that are probably as tight as we are. So I'm going to be proud to hang this in my office, and I don't even have words to thank you for it.
Well, like I said, Chad, it was my pleasure, and you know, the work you've done with Coach and helping him. I mean, you know, Ron, you say you're not a classroom kind of guy, you're a field guy. We all know Coach is not a tech guy, and this would not happen without Chad. So thank you, Chad.
Hey, man, you put that right on the line there. Adam Nelson, are you on?
I am.
I want to, I guess, go back to your brain tumor treatment and so forth. I know you had surgery, right? in Cleveland.
Yep.
And then did you do radiation after that then, or what?
Yeah, it wasn't for a couple of years. I kind of kept that in my toolbox, but I did radiation a few years later.
Were they able to remove most of the tumor?
Yeah, they got about 85% of it.
Okay, where was yours located?
Same as where Chad's was.
Wonder how
that
come
left side.
They say now that they are afraid of doing surgery for fear of damaging his. His communication level is very poor right now, and they're afraid of paralysis and so on. But why would you think they may not want to do surgery at this time?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it could all depend on if they can actually see where the tumor is. That's why they stopped where mine was, because couldn't tell the difference, or maybe it's too entangled in all the motor skills stuff. So I don't know.
That's evidently what they told them, is that it's too dangerous because it's branched out too much. Did they classify yours as aggressive or not?
No, mine wasn't as aggressive. No, I mean, but there's a grade 3. Chad's is a grade 4. So I mean, but yeah, they'll go after it as strong as they can.
Did you get when you did radiation? Did you get sick or just fatigue, or how did that affect you?
Yeah, he's gonna be tired and not feeling good, because I'm guessing he's doing. Are they gonna give him chemo also?
Yeah, he's taking the oral chemo drug. Started that today too.
Yeah, he'll be pretty tired, not feeling good, but other people respond different ways. I'm kind of a weenie, so.
Well, did you do it every day then for a period of time?
Yeah, I had 42 treatments, 5 days a week or whatever. So.
Did you have to have them in Cleveland?
I did them in Iowa City.
What's that?
I had mine in Iowa City.
Oh, okay. Well, they're going up to Mayo to do it for 6 weeks, so they'll be.
Just keep us posted on how he's doing.
Yeah, we'll do. He's on Caring Bridge. In case some of you want to follow him, it's just Chad Garrow on Caring Bridge. So if you like to follow it, his son AJ is kind of the one that's been posting most of the information, and he kind of gets the information from mom, and then he puts it together and kind of she proofs it, and he puts it on. So he put one on, I think, on Sunday night, which would have been the latest one. So if some of you want to read about it, why, you can do that.
How's Missy holding up?
Missy?
Yeah.
Melissa?
Yeah. Melissa.
Well, she was over here yesterday. She just likes to get away a bit with her daddy, and she cries often, obviously, but she tries not to be too emotional around Chad at that time. So anyway, there's his Caring Bridge page there.
Well, I know he's well supported, so.
Well, thank you very much, appreciate it. So thanks for the information. Oh, there's that wildlife images, huh?
This is unbelievable stuff, Ron. Unbelievable. It's so good.
Thank you.
That cougar is unbelievable.
Yeah, you can go to that cougar rim if you go to portfolio and then go to limited edition down right there.
So Ron, we can get those done on laser etched on metal.
Yeah, so they print them right on the metal.
That stuff looks really nice.
It does. Yeah, it makes for a great piece to hang on the wall, and you don't have to worry about getting it framed or anything.
So are you serious about putting a promo code on there?
Yeah, I'll put it. It'll be up tonight, but it'll give me a little bit of time because it takes.
No worries. That would be awesome.
Yeah. Coup 44. That one is not.
Coug 90. Coug 90.
No, just
I would
yeah.
support that.
That wasn't me saying that, by the way.
Yeah, Ralph would break me.
What was your
Just
number?
kidding.
Was Woo 90 or was Woo 99?
Who was 90?
Woo was
took his
90.
number.
Who was 99? I like that.
I bet.
Stop it.
You bet by the 2 weeks, Ron, they'll find out who wore 99. They'll get that guy out here. Well, I tell you.
Brian Cook did back in the
Yeah, that's what I was
90s.
gonna say. Brian Cook.
I think Theron Liggins was 2. Give Bob 2.
Yeah,
Aaron was 2.
give
Let's
you the
keep Kuiper off here.
TL discount. And it just COO 44. That's what I'll put it down as. I'm looking
What else
through.
is new with some of you? Brad Schroeder. Hey, Jeff Folkers, tell Maggie we got the card you guys sent, and that card and that prayer she put on there was unbelievable. And Melissa broke down yesterday when she read it, and just it was so much what she needed at that time before they left today to go up there. And so if you can give your bride a big thank you, I appreciate it. Okay, from Melissa too, because that was very special what Maggie wrote, even though I think you probably told her what to write. But
yeah, I dictated. She wrote. Yeah, she does some amazing things, and I'll tell her.
Thank you.
So Ron, is Ron still? Yeah, Ron, I can't do photography and I can't edit, but I can dress up as Sasquatch. So if you need that.
There's always some calls for some good Sasquatch images. The problem is they're all out of focus. You have to get blurry Sasquatch images or everybody questions the authenticity.
Well,
you see his picture, you want it fuzzy.
I still run pretty fast, so it'll be blurry.
Okay, we'll test that out.
No, and I have a fish story real quick for Ed. One of my students asked me if I liked crab, and we were talking about that, and I said, but I don't like fish. But I do like smoked salmon sometimes. Well, he went back to his teacher and said, hey, do you know that Mr. Folkers smokes salmon? So that was good. And I heard someone cough earlier. I don't know who it was, but one of my students told one of my kindergarten teacher, it's probably the cannabis. So that was my day today with smoked salmon and
what are
cannabis.
you guys teaching down there?
That's where I'm at.
Are you in Colorado?
No, he's in Reno, Nevada, right?
Oh yeah, and it's all legal here too. It's all legal here too. But yeah, so those are my stories for today. It was a good day. But yeah, I'll talk to Maggie.
Brad, you got anything to throw in today?
Not much. I guess I noticed on Ron's website the big cat area had a bunch of bobcats, and it reminded me of this fall. There's a guy out here bow hunting, sitting in a tree stand. One day he called me. He was all fired up because he had a bobcat come right up to the base of the tree that he was sitting at, and he thought that was pretty cool. He said that was worth sitting in the tree stand all day to see that bobcat come up to the base there and look up at him. So those pictures are awesome. I really like those.
How come they call them bobcats?
Bobtail.
Bobtail,
yep. What's the difference between a bobcat and a cougar? The tail?
Well, that and about 80 pounds.
Right. Bobcats
are pretty small, aren't
pretty
they?
Small, yeah.
Yeah.
They're nasty though.
What color really is a cougar?
Oh, they're kind of yellowish orange. That
Are they?
color right there, Coach.
The one that I got hanging on my wall downstairs, the boys just gave to me. It was at one of those a Booster Club banquets. You know, they had it on the I think the auction, live auction, and
Mhm.
they bought it and then they gave it to me. But it's a lot more gray. Do they change the
Oh,
color?
yeah.
There.
In the wintertime, yeah, when the hair gets longer, they'll get a little bit more gray.
Okay.
Yep.
The one you gave me, so I got both of them now, so I'm covered.
You good?
So, Ron, have you had any close encounters when you're out there?
Yeah. Nothing that really made me, well, okay, one, bear, but I didn't know that it was a bad encounter until I got back and started looking at the pictures and everything they tell you about bear behavior, because you always try to watch them and watch for all the signals that they're getting nasty. And this guy, he was looking at me out the corner of his eye. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't notice this because I crawled through this little alder patch to get to where he was. And he was kind of feeding down this open meadow. And when I got back, he's looking at me out the corner of his eye with his head down, and both ears are laid flat back on his head. And, you know, big old humps up. He was definitely in an aggressive posture, but I was so concentrated on trying to get images that I didn't even pay attention to it, didn't see it. And so that's one of those learning experiences. And then we had a young adolescent Alaskan brown bear. And the young guys with, you know, it's kind of like all of us when we hit the coup, you're just kind of, that testosterone's peaking. And those adolescent bears, about 3 or 4 years old, the testosterone's peaking in them, and they're really curious because they've only been on their own for a year or two. And that guy came from about 3/4 of a mile away and just kept coming at me. Well, at us, there was a small group of us, and he kept coming at us and kept coming at us, and finally got to about 25 yards, and the guide finally took the bear spray out. But he was just kind of testing his boundaries, and we'd seen him several times, and we were in an area that had about 25 different bears in it, and he'd kind of provoked or tried to test his boundaries with every bear that he ran into too. So we knew he was, you know, he was just young and aggressive enough to be curious. And so he was one that kind of made me a little bit nervous. But nothing, you know, almost got run over by a moose, but it was an accident. She wasn't running at us. She was running away from a bull. And the other guy that I was filming with, she was at about 7 or 8 yards from him. And she came right at us and kind of clipped his tripod. And that was about as close as I've had with a moose, but nothing terrible. I guess some of those are close enough for most people,
Yeah,
but
thank
it
goodness it was not that close.
Well, so I had a really close encounter in traffic today.
that happens more frequently.
Ryan Rollinger.
Yes, Coach.
I'm praying that your son might consider USF. I don't know if that's a possible option or not, but I'd kind of like to see him playing receiver there. So I have a special interest there. So
I've been putting some pressure on him, Coach, and you know, you've always said it's not my will, but yours be done. And I'd never want to swear in front of you, but I'm gonna have to say the A word. He's gonna play at Augustana.
Oh no, God, they got enough receivers over there.
Hey,
Oh my goodness.
tried as hard as I could, man. But I got a shirt made that says USF grad Augie dad. And that's the only thing I'm buying that's blue and gold. But he's his own man right now, and he made his choice right before Christmas. So he's going to be playing at Augie for. I told him there's always the transfer portal now. You can go anywhere after you.
That's right. Well, just tell him there's a bunch of Brandon guys going to US or to Augie, so he doesn't want to go over there with them, does he?
You know, he's actually excited about how many local guys are playing over there. He's going to go throw at Riggs Academy tomorrow night with Tommy Thompson from Lincoln that's going there. And they snatched up a bunch of local talent, so he's a little bit excited about where he's going.
Is Augie going D1?
You know, I asked that question in the recruitment piece, and they did. Coach Oshevsky said that they are right now not pursuing that, and part of it was they didn't want to play. The football team was going to go to the Patriot League, which is Division III. If they went Division I in the other sports, and so he said for the foreseeable future they are not going to go Division I. Now he's selling a program. So I don't know that he'd have been 100% honest with us, but from what I've heard, they are not pursuing that right now, which is great. The local, you know, now that USF and Augie can play each other, it's great locally here. It's kind of a cool little two small school Division II matchup in South Dakota, and it gets, you know, 5,000-6,000 people pre-COVID in the stands, and the tailgating and the banter on social media is pretty good. So it's a good thing, I think. I'll just be cheering for USF on that game. I told him I'm not switching. I'm going to sit on the other sideline. He can have 100 catches and 1 touchdown and lose by 25.
So I have a question, if anyone can answer. So why is it when a school upgrades to Division II, like Sioux Falls did, or a school goes from Division II to Division I, why are they ineligible for postseason play for whatever it is, 2 or 3 years?
Initiation, it's called. I don't know. I think it's just so it makes it a little tougher to make the move, and it's a big, to go from Division II to Division I is a big financial responsibility. And I think a part of it kind of helps, maybe prepare the college that's coming in to Division I, let's say, to help them prepare for scholarships and everything too. So it's quite a transition that takes place, even to go from like NEIA to Division II. That was a lot of red tape that a lot of hoops they had to jump through at that time. So,
Bob, that's never made sense to me either, because if you can move up from Division II and make the playoffs in Division I,
exactly,
I think you deserve to be there.
Well, the reason I ask is my son is looking at, he's getting recruited by Dixie State out of Utah for baseball, and they're making the move this year to, I think, the WAC. And yeah, they won't be eligible for postseason play until I think 2024. He likes what he sees there, but it's like, geez, I don't get it. I can see if you're moving down a level, but I just don't understand the moving up.
Yeah, makes recruiting really difficult too. I mean, just honestly, it does.
Hey, Coach, I got to get going.
Okay.
But tonight was really, really fun. I'm going to jump on Ron's website here later.
Okay.
Brian, say hi to Mark. Love that guy. Really, all the time I spent on the golf course with him over the past few years was said. He's a great guy, good friend. Love him to death.
I'll do that. Thanks, Ed.
I don't. And still praying for Chad, Coach. So
thank you, Ed.
Love you guys. See you.
Good to see you, Ed.
Okay. Eric Thompson, what's it like in Arizona or in Texas, I think?
COVID is on the rise. Unfortunately,
it's
all good. It's all good. In fact, I came on late, so I apologize, but the hospital made my wife the vaccine queen. So she's been running clinics 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. So making sure the frontline staff and all that, and are getting their injections. And in fact, they just started the second round, and they're also doing the San Antonio Police Department. So she, goes in, she gets up at 4:30 and opens the clinic at 7 and gets home at 8, around 7:30. So I wanted to spend some time with her before I jumped on here, but so I apologize, but it's all good. So, baseball season kicks off at the end of the month. So I'm looking forward to that so I can get back on the field, mask and all.
You're still playing baseball?
No, I'm an official coach.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, we're in fact, wait till next week, Bobby. The WAC is announcing they're going back to football, and they got 7 schools coming on board. So
they're adding 7 schools to the WAC.
They're adding 5 schools are coming into the WAC in 20. They're going to start football in 2022. They're stealing schools from the Southland Conference. So Abilene Christian, Lamar University, Stephen F. Austin, and Sam Houston State are going to join. And then Tarleton State already has football. Dixie State has football. Southern Utah and Utah Valley. They're going to try to steal Weber State.
So are you officiating in the WAC?
I am officiating in the WAC.
What do you think of Dixie State? I mean, is that
I don't know yet.
School?
I haven't seen them yet, but it sounds like it.
Keep me posted because they're Dixie State and University of Illinois Chicago are probably the 2 highest on his list as far as their interest in him right now. And he would probably prefer Dixie State over UIC. So keep me posted on what you know.
All right, we'll do. But yeah, everything else, Coach, is good down here. So it doesn't snow, so we're blessed with that. But it's all good.
Thanks, Derek. My daughter just had her first, as a school nurse, she had her first vaccine shot yesterday. And I'm thinking that I'm on that same phase as the first responders, the high risk people that
you should be eligible. Yes, sir. You should be eligible. So
I'm thinking,
make sure,
but I keep asking her.
1B.
She feels good about it, doesn't she?
Yes.
But my only concern for Coach is I've heard a little bit of rumor that there may be some unknown factors as far as the reproductive systems with the vaccine.
What does that mean?
Make sure the plumbing still works.
There's not much of the plumbing left.
So Rhonda, she's told me they've only had 4 incidences where some people had some side effects, blurry eyes and some dizziness, and it was all guys. So all the women that are getting the vaccine are having 0 side effects.
I did want to ask Folkers if I'm surprised that Steeler stuff hasn't fallen down off his wall. They've kind of dropped everything else here lately.
No, we don't like winning
Exactly.
in December. But now it's
It's a
January.
green screen.
So we'll be okay. Picking Augustana is like picking Cleveland Browns over the Steelers. So I'm disappointed in that respect. But just wait.
Yeah,
We'll win.
yeah, we're all still back in. Coach logged himself off, so he's going to log himself back in to say goodbye.
Brad, been thinking about you a lot lately. How's everything going with you?
It's going all right. Yeah, the holidays were a little bit different this year, but Mom's doing okay. So yeah.
Keep her rolling for me, ET.
So, Mr. Hayes, my brother still lives in Cody. So if you need a place to stay or something like that, just let me know.
Really?
I'll hook you up. Yeah.
That's
So
where
I went
Behringer's
to,
at too.
yeah, I grew up in Buffalo. We
Uh-huh.
grew up in Buffalo. So he's still in Cody. He's still in Cody.
What's he doing over there?
He is an attorney, him and his wife.
Nice. Yeah, there's well, Jimmy's there. There's still a bunch of guys in Sheridan, but
right.
Most of the guys we went to Sioux Falls with all kind of stayed out of Wyoming.
So Ron, have you had a chance to do any marine photography as far as whales or anything like that in the Puget Sound or anything?
But well, yeah, we did. We went up just out of Seward, and we got a bunch of orca. So we almost went in the water because they were coming right at us. And so we were trying to get GoPros in the water to film them when they came by. And my son was unplugging one and trying to run out there, and I had to grab his waistband and hold him in the boat because he dove fairly aggressively trying to get that camera in the water and lost his footing on the boat. So we hung on, but they're pretty amazing. We actually saw a fin whale there as well, which is the second largest to the blue whale. We saw a mother and calf. That was pretty incredible. We interviewed a guy, and so I don't know if it's going to happen this year because the borders are still closed right now, but he I don't know if you guys saw that video on YouTube where the guy was cage diving with a great white shark, and the great white shark actually came through the cage into the cage up from the bottom, and it ended up he kind of worked around in the cage for a while, slapped around in the cage for a while. It was a smaller, younger great white. It was only about 10 feet. And then he came up out of the top of the cage, and then they couldn't find the diver. And so this guy had bought that boat the day before. So he owned that boat for one day when that guy had that shark come in the cage with him, and he went out like the manhole where they film out of, and he was fine. He didn't even get a scratch. If he'd have been in the cage, that shark would have crushed him. But anyways, so we are going to dive with that guy. He's going to put us in the water down Guadalupe Island, just off the coast of the Baja Peninsula on the west side. And so we're going to dive with some of the biggest great whites. They go down there to breed, so the large females all show up there in October. And so we're going to be in the water with some of the biggest sharks in the world. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Well, if you ever get to Seattle to do any shooting or anything like that, let me know. We can find a spot for you to rest your head if you need.
Oh, that'd be incredible. Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome back, Coach.
Thank you. I was going to tell you, Eric, when I lived in Arizona, I was pretty big into baseball officiating down there. We would start with some training and doing ASU's practice games, and I never did any of their regular games, but we did a lot of junior college and high school games down there. But and of course I did softball down there too. And the hardest time I got was some of those church leagues where those people didn't know. I had a pastor that came right out of the stands and came right over and got my face. And
run him.
I kicked him out.
Right. Send him to the pews.
The church took care of him after that. No more games.
Yeah, we got it. Our test opens up tomorrow for the NCAA, so we got to get that figured out and get that finished, and then Division II starts the end of this month, and then there's a big tournament at Minute Maid. They call it the Winter Classic. So the owner of the Astros went to school at Central Missouri. So he flies the team down and they're the host team. And then we get usually we get one school out of the Northern Sun, but I don't know if they're playing baseball this year or not.
I haven't heard anything about that. They just started playing basketball this weekend, so
Right.
I think the other
Coos off to a good start.
Yeah, they're going to have some challenges. The women had a COVID case, so they didn't get to play this weekend. I don't know about next weekend. I think they can't practice until Friday, and then that's the day that they take off and go to the game over in Northern Iowa. So University of Northern Iowa, not Northern, what is the name of that one? No, Upper Iowa.
Upper Iowa, yeah.
Yeah, Upper Iowa.
Yeah, they just, in fact, we just got a letter from the director of championships and alliance, who happens to be an Augustana grad, by the way.
Why do we bring Augie into this thing?
I don't know.
I know my granddaughter married a guy, a football player from Augie, so I guess I got to be careful of what I say anymore. But
right. So yeah, say they came out. They came out.
No, you don't.
They came out with all the mandates, what we got to wear and stuff on the field.
Okay.
And, but they just didn't. They didn't address some of the issues. So obviously, I had some questions, but who knows if we'll get answered or not. And I think every conference might be different. So they want us to test. If we're going to be behind the plate, we got to test like 3 days prior to the series. We don't know who's paying for it. So if everybody works a plate, right? If it's a 3-game series and it's a 3-man crew, that means everybody's got to work a plate. That means you got to get tested every Monday for 15 weeks.
Do they accept the home testing anymore at all?
They didn't say. It had to either do the PCP test or the PCP rapid test. That was it. Those are our two choices. But they didn't address what if you're already been vaccinated. So, I mean, that's a question. If you're vaccinated, do you have to go through the testing? So,
what level did you say the first responders are in now?
They're 1A. They're now doing 1B, which would be elderly and if you had an underlying issue. Well, that's in Texas. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if that's a nation thing, classification, or just a state. But they should be at one. If you're one, you qualify under 1B if you were in Texas, Coach. Which means you just go find a place that's giving the administering the vaccine and either sign up or just show up. So sometimes they just do walk-ins.
It's really a coincidence that they're doing the vaccinations right in the same building I'm in. And when I go there now, there's cars parked all around the building. Usually there's very few cars there, but they have a special place for us people who are on dialysis. But I was thinking, my daughter said, well, why don't you just go up there and tell them that somebody said to come up and get your vaccine.
Yeah, absolutely. Because you got to fill out a card and all that, and they'll give you a card because you got to go back in 3 weeks after you get the first injection. You got 3 weeks, and then you go back and get the second.
So, Coach, I did see a picture, Christmas picture of you and Melissa and the family. Nice picture. It was very nice to see. Chad looked good. Obviously we're all hoping for him and pulling for him and praying for him, but that was a nice picture.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate your communication at Christmas time, Bob, too. So appreciate that. Rita does a good job.
Yeah, I wasn't even going to try to take credit for that.
But no, that was Savannah set up her little iPhone, and that was, when you're trying to get the whole group in, it's kind of fun. She did a good job, I think. It kind of looked like somebody took it, but she had it set up in a place where she.
I think you ought to get Ron to come out and take a picture.
Well, he doesn't like to come to the big cities, though. So.
I said I'd visit, Coach.
Well, I don't know what you do.
Brandon's not.
Yeah,
Brandon's not a
that
big
big.
city.
Well, that's right. That's right. But we're
population of
considered part
Brandon?
of Sioux Falls. So I don't know
Yeah.
what he's going to do if you ask him to come to Seattle, though. I mean, he may have a hard time with that one.
Well, you can escape.
I'm north of Seattle. It's not. Well, it's greater than 10,000, but it's not Seattle.
We did go to Vancouver Island once, so I've probably been by you.
There's that's a beautiful place. And we went to I went fishing up there probably about 10 years ago at Campbell River Resort. Beautiful place. And then you've got that inside passage is just absolutely gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And the salmon fishing and the eagles that you see, and it's some amazing wildlife up there.
Is that on Vancouver Island, did you say?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Campbell River is on Vancouver Island.
Is that where the Bouchard Gardens are?
They're in Victoria.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know Diane and I have ferried over there, put our big van on the ferry and went over there, and that was a real memorable time to go over there.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, South Dakota has really nice people. A lot of other places have really nice scenery.
Well, Ron, if you're ever in Nevada, you can come to my house. I have wild horses that crap on my lawn every morning. And
they eat at apple trees.
Up and down the street.
Where are you at, Folkers? Are you in Reno?
I'm in Reno.
So I actually went to Reno a few weeks ago. I don't know, a month or two ago, and Jeff picked me up at the airport, and we drove around for 3 hours, Jeff, just looking. And he drives me by his house, and as we're coming down his street, there's a truck with a horse trailer. And we go down, and he turns around, and then he says, we're not going to stop. Maggie will meet us for dinner. And then I see all this horse crap in the middle of the road. I'm like, that dude with the horse trailer, I said, he's got to clean up after himself. And he's like, no. Those are wild horses that just come down the street every day that just come down. And he says, they knock my fence down. They eat my apples. So we went and tried to ride some. And Jeff, he says he's fast, but he couldn't catch any of them. And, we tried. I got 3 of them, but Jeff couldn't catch any of them.
No, I wasn't fast that day. They're all over.
Well, guys, I'm going to let Jeff get Rem back on here with you guys. I'm going to step aside, but anyway, thanks a lot. Have a great night. Thanks for being on tonight. Okay, love you.
Happy New Year, Coach. Love you.
Happy New Year, Coach.
Really means a lot to me to have this going on. So we'll see you in 2 weeks. Okay. All right.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Sounds good, Coach. Have a good night, Coach.